Boom. Did that go through? I wonder. Um, Yo, so this is gonna be a quick stream, very quick, just getting some thoughts out as I not SSH in, but um, log in here and am working on getting some transcriptions from my note taker over. I'm in my Mac Studio right here, and yeah, there were some sync compatibility issues, so I thought I'd build out just a very simple audio transcription tool. So I'm literally just building a basic tool that I kind of already paid for, but it kind of brings up the topic of today that I want to talk about, which is just building over existing tools that people use. I mean, when you think about it, if I were to type in, let's just go to chat for something like this, and we'll say so I want to have a table format response here of all of the following apps and essentially their feasibility ranked 1 through 10 in this table of recreating with frontier models and understanding all the edge cases and just kind of rough feasibility of the build to get, call it 85% of the way there. Oh shoot. So what stinks about that is that I'm in front of this right now. However, right now I can't hear the freaking headphones. Man, I'll tell you what, the streaming stuff is annoying with all the inputs and outputs. Jeez Louise. That's fine though. I don't need to hear the music. Anyway, so yeah, we're just gonna type in here. I want a table. One through 10 feasibility of building with frontier models, recreating these specific apps functionality. So I don't have to fight the cost of these SaaS platforms. And I am just gonna bring this over. These SaaS platforms: Notion, Google Calendar, Gmail, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. What else is used frequently? PowerPoint, Adobe, Lightroom. I don't really use these, but that's fine. Let's fire that off and see what it says. Because like Notion, 7 out of 10. That's a quick build to get functionality, almost there. Real-time collaborations off, that's not needed. Google Calendar. 6, Gmail, lower. Microsoft Word, I'm surprised is not higher. Microsoft Excel, I knew that would be low. PowerPoint, I knew that would be moderate. Lightroom, I thought it might be a little higher instead of a 4. But I think that this is going to be a trend where people just decide to build their tech stack. And, there's so much documentation of functionality out there. Like, why not just allocate an upfront, like $20 to just infinite loop through and through with a planning model like Opus or 4.6, and then just have the nitty gritty code work done by a Kimi, some hosted model that's local, and just build them out and just get them out of there, get all these costs out of the way. Software is going to it's decreasing in value. Look at market share every time Anthropic announces something new, folding something from Claude Code into Cowork. People lose their minds. Computer usage by Perplexity, people are losing it. So all basic browser and functionality of what we use everything for, all this software is going to be commoditized. But where the real value is thinking of the problems, right? Like, if you can spin anything up, like even Notion with the 7 out of 10 here, that would take complexity and that would take some time. But they're gonna, being the main bottlenecks of, time and just compute, and time and budget are gonna be people's main constraints. If the prompt is as simple as build me a Notion Lite, Notion clone, build me a Duolingo clone, they might not even think of doing that unless someone puts it on their radar. But the forward-thinking users or people with the understanding of the tooling and kind of coupled with the market and where things are going and where these AI Labs incentives are to cross over, where these wrappers come into play, where like medium private equity guys or old world investors want to invest in certain wrappers and box out a certain corner. Everything's going to be going towards API usage and cost there. So getting that layer, and then just kind of having the mobile and the web app and the desktop app is ushers into the API. The seat-based SaaS models is dying. It's been dying, and people are going to keep edging stuff out. Eventually, it's just going to be the API layer that remains. But the best API layer, is already there. We have the AI Labs. What you can do, I'm not saying this is even a great idea, right? Like replacing the tech stack. I'm not doing it. Apologies for sneezing. But it's something to be cognizant of. Like, this is where things are going. It's just going to be totally democratized. How are the tools going to help you and your natural workflow? Like, you have to have such a good understanding of yourself. Outside of just like, if you want to use it as, just it's going to start in your work and the things you have to do, and students coming up in their school, in their education, and automating tedious kind of work away. And it's going to be great for that. And then curiosity is going to bite other people, especially us in the West. Like, anyone who's seen The Social Network is like going to think of things in terms of like starting a business, right? that's the culture. So like you're gonna understand these tools, and the people who don't fully or don't even come close to getting it will like try to solopreneur some app that maybe they host and get live and try to draw traffic to, but that's going to be kind of the extent of it because they don't understand. They haven't been paying attention to the market. I'm thinking of a young kid, like if I was in high school right now and trying to do it, I would run into something like that, fall into those pitfalls. Other people are going to be like, okay, I learn the market, have reference points of all the different pivots. Okay, so Cowork, that came from Claude Code. Okay, Claude Code is this is a CLI, got it. And effectively it's the closest my system, my local computer has to access with the model, and it can read and write tooling and okay, this is version control, and understanding the market will help people understand where things, understanding the tools right now just by the AI labs is a great place to start. Like Cowork came from Claude Code, right? Codex came from ChatGPT. Understanding the hierarchy of, market cap, who's trying to go public, who's not, what's AnySphere from Cursor's position versus Perplexity. Kind of just asking all the question is understanding the landscape. Who are the players? That's a great place to start in terms of, building in general too, because if you don't have that layer, if you're not curious about that and have that understanding, you're going to get locked into one tool. And you're only going to hear about other tools in like a FOMO, fear of missing out, shiny object syndrome over here. When I'm talking to my buddy, I get, I only do research when you're like pulled in the different directions. If you learn about the market that way, natural, but like you're less served by just going out and, it doesn't take some, like, you don't need to get Wall Street Journal. You don't need to get like, try to find the exact right channels on Substack or YouTube. You go to this site, you go to Claude Code Docs, you go to Codex Docs, you go to Perplexity Docs, or you just go, give me a table of all docs from all AI labs. Docs URLs from all AI labs. Example. Boom. And boom. Or you just go, teach me the landscape, right, of AI labs, and you just sit here. You don't need to have Wall Street Journal. You're not going to find you don't need to scour and find the perfect video on YouTube, the perfect Substack, the perfect article. No, you should just sit down, go back and forth in the chat interface. People understand the market, can understand how they're going to orient about using tools, and come to the realization that they should not get locked into one environment. I run Claude Code, I run Codex. I'm constantly looking at other offerings, different CLIs, open source endeavor, all that good stuff. Because you wanna be able to understand where everybody's coming from. Because we are not AI native. Like if you're watching this video right now, like the people, the kids, like the second graders, the fourth graders in 2 to 3 years, those guys are AI native. Those kids will be AI native. Like, without even trying to understand all this, they're going to know a great deal. So that curve of understanding this is only harder and harder, the older you are. It makes sense, right? But point being, that's a great place to start, and principles are going to carry us through the singularity, right? In a way, better than anything, better than any tool of the week, better than any, you know, hype, wave, not like the principles. And what's principle number one is understanding what is being offered by what companies and understanding the hierarchy and just the players. That is one of the main principles. So you go and you see all the docs, you go, you freaking print them out and you highlight, right? Like you understand Claude Code, all custom slash commands, all slash commands. You think of things in first principles. I know that's overdone. Like, oh, tell me, you're a fan of Elon Musk without like telling me. Well, guess what? I don't know who came up with that. Yeah, I heard it from him, and then other people who are in that camp. But it's important to take a step back instead of just like where you're meeting at it right now. It's like do one hard layer back. Like maybe it's even just like Claude Code, right? It's big. So maybe it's just understanding and saying like in your chat interface, like what are all the features of Claude Code? What are all the slash commands of Claude Code, of Codex? And, going through and understanding that. When you don't want to because you're like, but I could just XYZ, or like, no, it's not worth the time. Doing something like that of just like giving yourself homework where, maybe it's not exciting. You just got to build like, and you're all in with that mindset. I get it, but taking a step back, managing your time so that you can take a step back is going to boost you dramatically in the long run. Just giving yourself homework that you really don't feel like doing, maybe it feels like you're going out of the way to do, but it's worth it. So, as we continue, I think it's really important to think about what are the main principles of how we go through educating ourselves as, technically non-technical people, right? Non-CS people, just come from that higher education level, like background. It's just what it is. So probably just gonna cut it there, but all good stuff, and hopefully everyone that's listening right now, go ahead and drop a principle of what you think could mean to you, besides like or even including like kind of the big ones, being open to growth and being naturally curious and not falling into one tool or get all your news from one site, one person, one whatever. Something like that is good, or just what that means to you, or just what you're building right now. Like I'm building this like super one-off like audio to transcript tool, and in an effort, and we talked about like in an effort to something wasn't working, and I just this is going to be a good thing to have when something out of my control with the note taking comes up, and it's going to split into multiple speakers talking, and that's just one that's good to have, but yeah, in the broader context of, hey, we want to understand where we're putting our time into how can we best utilize the tools, the technology, and all that good stuff. So, going to cut it there. Appreciate you watching. Yep, sound off below. Talk to you. Good stuff. See you tomorrow. Boom.